So thank you everybody for coming because it's the last session of the day and it's really late. So I'm really happy that you would attend. And so we're going to talk a little bit about. I know there's a lot of great sessions on accessibility. What we wanted to focus on today is how to scale it out in a very large organization as Nestle. And presenting today is myself. I'm the product manager of brand website products at Nestle, which is located here in Spain. And I also have.
Hi, I'm Sarah. So I'm the brand website lead. I'm part of the global marketing team of Nestle, sitting in Switzerland.
So vacation time was still recent, so maybe some of you have just come back or went on a trip. You remember, and you're really excited about going on the trip, and you're on it. Maybe it's a road trip, and you're thinking, you're getting a little restless because it's taken a little bit of time, and maybe you're thinking you have your friends or family or kids that are saying, "Are we there yet?" So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an indication of how we feel right now about embarking on this journey on accessibility and integrating it into our systems. So we thought it was going to be, we had a goal, we thought it was going to be a straightforward path, but we're really realizing that it's actually quite a journey on digital transformation for accessibility.
But before we start taking you on this journey, I'm going to start with telling you a bit more about the Nestle website landscape so you understand why this is such a long journey that we are all on. So we have 1,300, actually more than 1,300 websites at Nestle. 1,000 of them are on our Drupal distribution, which we call Lightness at Nestle. And we have over 2,000 brands, so some local, some regional, and all the global ones have what we call master templates instances. So they have similar layouts, similar user experience overall. So all of these brands probably you can see examples here on the screen. You have Nescafé, you have Perrier, you have KitKat, and whatnot. So where did our accessibility journey start? So in 2019, so over 5 years ago, we really dabbled into accessibility at the time. We made our backend components accessible, but we were slowly getting up to speed, and it was the same for the agency. So we did what we thought was the best at the time. Then in 2022, we started implementing Google Lighthouse as a new indicator and a score that we pulled into our internal brand website BPI, which is our own internal performance and quality indicator for any digital experience at Nestle. So this was it at the time. Then finally, 2023 comes, and then we launch a global RFP for a global accessibility vendor. So we identified DQ as our new partner for web accessibility. And at the time, we were so happy. We thought we were done, basically. We said, we have a partner, we know what we're going to do. It's going to be really easy now from now on. But as you can understand already, it wasn't that easy. We realized we were not there yet on the journey. There were so many roadblocks. First one is we didn't really have an ambition. We didn't know what we wanted to do. We didn't know how to scale it. We didn't know what to measure. We didn't know how to measure it. So we realized that there would be so many things that we would have to figure out as we went along. So we made a few changes. We leverage, of course, our global partner DQ for web accessibility, but we started with coming up with an ambition for the whole Nestle group. So that ambition is to reach AA standards by June 2025. We also came up with a new mindset. We wanted to foster this new mindset of constantly tracking, monitoring accessibility so that people were really trying to improve always at Nestle. And then we created new processes to drive scale. If you remember the first slide that I presented with those 2,000 brands and 1,300 websites, you realize how difficult it was to scale and how much we needed a process for this to come to life.
So another one of the challenges when you're embarking on such a journey for us is we had to consider the entire ecosystem, and we have a lot of stakeholders. So as you can see here, we have the Nestle businesses at the core, and we have IT teams like my web CMS team. We have security. We have IT specialists in each market. Then you have our vendors, third-party vendors, hosting platforms, creative agencies, tech agencies, and of course we have operational service lines internally, and we have brand experts in the markets that are there to help localize, and of course we have global marketing, which Sarah's represents that. And so one of the things that we were starting to learn is that we had to look at it more as in phases and setting milestones on this journey. So one of the first things that we had to do was we had to have an awareness of what it was all about and impart that to all our stakeholders. So we did some activities like getting the consultants and experts in this area, creating guidelines and webinars, and kicking this project off, and also doing some analysis in key areas where the legal impact was higher. Then it's a process of knowing that we have to take care of the technical debt and remediate the issues that are there today, at least defining which are the critical and high ones. So, using the tools and getting where we are today, what the scores are, the baseline scans, as we call it, setting up or trying to set up some KPIs, doing some trainings, things like that. And then we're moving into, once you have this, you're not one and done. You have to make sure you set up systems and processes to maintain those results that you have, and also make sure that you have the right roles set up. And then start to integrate more comprehensive and manual testing, and finally, with the goal of you want to prevent issues. So you want to be having the development, the designers, and all scanning or preventing these issues, because now they're more aware and have a better understanding of it. So one of the things that we do when we're trying to reach accessibility scale is we always go back to our Drupal distribution, which we've created, which is Lightness. And what we do first is we fix all the issues that are in our component library and our functionalities. So as much as we can fix there, that will help to eliminate all the different sites having to fix the same exact issues. So we cascade that, we release it and cascade it to then our master sites, our business units. And they have a whole bunch of unified code bases. And then those global agencies and those business owners are responsible for fixing the bugs in their platforms, in all their templates. So, they're fixing design, JavaScript, everything on that level. And once they're done with that, they can then, in their releases, cascade it down to the child sites. And this is where the local markets come in. And for the most part, what they're responsible for is fixing the content, making sure images are accessible, PDFs, videos, doing good alt tags, SEO. So that is kind of like one of the ways we scale it. And another thing that we had to consider is like, what is the journey? What is the process for each of these business units? And there's a progression that has to be made. So one of the things that we did was we set up a project. So where we could offer some support to kick off this, do the guidelines, get a bunch of licenses for tools for the vendor has like a university platform, and we will do a global webinar to increase the awareness. We'll send off some kickoff emails, and then we'll send baseline scans to each master group, and then we'll present reports. We'll give them accesses to the tools. So we're kind of doing this whole preparation. After that, it starts to move into the ownership of the business and their responsibility. So they'll understand that they need to remediate, again, at least the critical and high issues first, because you cannot attack everything at once. And, hopefully in this period, they can get at least that done in the next 3 to 6 months. And then they need to, keep doing rescans and validations, and they're starting to integrate these processes and this knowledge in their systems. And then they're on a path to maturity once they've kind of integrated this in their everyday kind of work world and ways of working. And so when we keep saying measuring, and this has been one of the challenges, is like measuring something is a little bit difficult because we thought we can get a score and that's it. But what we're really able to do with automatic scans is about 57% of the coverage, because there's a bunch of stuff that has to be done with manual testing. And there's also, with the tools, you can do semi-automatic testing, but while the developers are using the tools, they can get rid of some of the bugs right then and there at the moment of development or design. So it's been a complex mix of tools and processes to kind of try to get these KPIs. So what we're trying to do is we definitely have a score for the automatic, but try to get the businesses to understand, it's just a path to maturity, and try to do as much accessibility coverage as possible. Over time, keep attacking, keep trying to do more manual testing.
So we started working with our brands around 6 months ago. And I wanted to share with you a great success story that we have from one of our key coffee brands, Nescafe. So Nescafe started 6 months ago. They scanned around 30 websites, more than 10K pages. And initially, the results that we got were slightly overwhelming. You're getting so many issues, you don't even know where you can start. But what we realized very quickly, what was very, very good, is that with a quick CES fix, you can actually take care of thousands of issues at once. So one very good example is the one you see on the right side of the screen, which is the color contrast. So it's very subtle. Probably I don't know if you can see it from here, but the color at the top is kind of a gray color, while the other one is black. So it is a very good example of something that is quite easy to implement and that is actually very important for our audiences. And in terms of internal results, the automated scan score, so the internal score, again, that we're pulling into our best practice index, went from 63 to 92 in only a few months. And the comprehensive scans showed a number of issues, but half of them were remediated in only a month. So all of this to say, it's very daunting, very overwhelming at first, but you can actually fix a lot of things quite easily. So there is a lot more that we would like to share, but the session is short, and in the interest of time, we came up with 6 key takeaways for you. So the first one is really to have accessibility champions within the company. So they can be product teams, they can be service lines, they can be agencies, site owners, anyone that is working on the website one way or another. Those champions are really learning with us, alongside us, and they're our best ambassadors. Second one is to have global standards to monitor. So first we came up with this ambition of AA standards by June 2025. But then next we pulled a score into our internal website BPI. And this made it much easier to actually track what was happening and for people to actually get interested in the web accessibility topic. Then third, we want to suggest to prepare for accessibility global, but also local budget. So of course, again, this is slightly overwhelming and there is no way we can tackle all of this all at once. So what we suggest is really to have some key focuses, some key pages that you want to tackle, because it's too difficult to do it all at once. Then on the right side, the communication plan, we suggest really sharing with those accessibility champions where they are on the journey very, very often. And then having an accessibility statement. This is something that we've created. So it means that we have a template at global level that can be localized per market. So it means that the team have to work with their local legal teams to make sure it is relevant in their country. But this has been very, very helpful. And it's also very good for our end consumer so that they know that we're actively working towards creating a more inclusive experience. And then last but not least, prepare golden rules. So to Antonella's points, we want to make sure we can extrapolate, we can cascade everything that is being done. So it's very important to have those. So those are the 6 key takeaways we wanted to share with you today. No, actually, I lied. I have a last one. Very last one, which is accessibility should be considered, at every stage of the website process. It means that everyone at the company is actually responsible for accessibility. So it starts with the website strategy, with the briefing of the agencies, creative agencies, design agencies, tech agencies. But it goes also to the design and implementation, but also to the constant measurement and optimization whenever the website is live. So it really does not end at the creation of the website. Okay, so accessibility. We've been talking about this a lot as a project, but it's actually a never-ending endeavor. So our plan is really to work on brand website because this is our scope. But it has become actually kind of a passion project of ours, and it's also something that we think is yes, a legal imperative in some areas, of course, but also the right thing to do. Nestlé prides itself in being such an inclusive company. So we have to make sure that we get this digital experience over to all the consumers out there and that we share with them the best possible digital experience. Now, what we want to do on top of brand websites is really to inspire other teams within the company to do the same. So employee tools, for instance, internal websites, mobile apps, IoT, other platforms. And we're also working a lot with our third-party vendors, sharing our accessibility roadmap and trying to inspire them to do the same on their end, sharing the knowledge just to make sure that we create, again, this experience for the consumers.
And just to end, as Sarah mentioned, accessibility is a mindset. It's not a project. So we know that we're always going to be on this road, and we're always going to be working, and that there's always going to be something it's going to be a moonshot because perfection is not necessarily attainable, but we're going to keep striving to reach it. And I just wanted to end with one quote from our head of information technology, Chris Wright, who says, "Successful digital transformation relies a lot on people's willingness and ability to change ways of working and embrace new technology. This learning and change begins with ourselves." So thank you very much for attending. Please join a reminder to please join the contribution sessions, and please, do rate us in the app later on. Thank you so much. Any questions?
So yeah, there's one question on the app. Sorry. How did you deal with issues that come out of the brand design, like color codes on logos that don't match the expectations and stuff like that?
I mean, so this is what the tool helps us to do, because it shows you what the issue is and it'll link to how to fix it, and so you get a lot of guidance that way. And
Yeah, I think the question was more like if you had to change colors that were like part of the
branding. Oh, yeah,
branding.
Good. Do you want to answer this?
So we haven't come across this issue yet, but it's a very good question. I hope we don't. I think our logos are kind of out there and kind of big with key colors, so hopefully it will work. But if it doesn't, yes, we'll come back. We'll be happy to come back and let you know how it went.
And there was a second question added just before. So how was LI initially introduced, received? Is a stick or a carrot? Like how did, your users or legal consequences? What was the driver?
So initially, the drive was a legal imperative. That was what started it. But then it became much bigger than this, and people really realized that it was about the user experience and also making the right thing. So I think this is where we are right now. It's slowly coming as a project that is not strictly compliance and legal, but also more about user experience and putting consumer at the center.
Questions coming in.
Any other questions?
But maybe somebody from the audience has a direct question. Yeah.
Oh, yep. I think that was something I forgot to mention, actually. So,
Can you maybe repeat the question?
oh, sure. They wanted to know, can we share an example of the shift left approach? So one of the things that we want to do to prevent is start really integrating these tools in our DevOps process. So it's just part of it. Like we have security scanning as part of it. So we want to include that. So at the time of development and before going live, you're checking this. another shift left is we're creating a designer ecosystem now, which we didn't really reach out. We always reached out to our developers, not designers. So we want to pull them into. We're creating design systems. We're creating Figma toolkit. So all of this to try to help prevent by having these standardized templates, and you can easily check. So.